It is Jason Abraham, the shadow teacher. And those of us who have courageously stepped into this path of learning the truth of who we are and the truth of how things are in this world of perception we were born into, what I've found in my own journey is that there have been different phases of awakening where bits of information come into my field and I'm taking things in, sometimes very slowly, and then I'll hit some big markers where I take a giant leap. I leap this chasm of consciousness, and so many things start to click in such a big, profound way. But it's usually these little steps that many of us are not aware of that are actually leading up to these big cataclysmic events where something in the world is going on and then something in us really starts to wake up. And I've mentioned before, 2020 was one of those big events to me, but I have to acknowledge much of the information that was coming to me that I was being led to in 2019 heavily paved the way for what was going to happen to me in 2020. So what that looked like, sometimes it'd be books I was drawn to. And there was a book by Neil Gaiman called The Graveyard Book that I was drawn to read in 2020. And it is a wonderful book, wonderful creative masterpiece that's very enjoyable to read. There's a graphic novel, great artwork, just really takes you into this beautiful world of story. But the content of this book, looking back, I can see really paved the way to my awakening. There's so many truths, esoteric truths, that are revealed in this book by Neil Gaiman, The Graveyard Book, of how things are here. So this is a story about a baby who grows into a young man. The story of a baby and his journey to being a young man, and his parents are murdered, and the baby crawls his way out of the home, just gets out of his crib, and inadvertently saves his own life and finds his way to a graveyard that is close by. And the baby is taken in by the keeper of the graveyard, who is this being named Silas. And Silas, again, is the one who goes between realms, who goes between the spirit world and then the world of the living, and took it upon himself to take on this baby whose parents were taken from him before his time. And so this baby is given the name Nobody, Bod for short. He's called Bod. And the baby is raised by the spirits of the graveyard, by Silas, who was the walker between realms and the keeper of the peace of the graveyard. And he's essentially raised by the wisdom of past times, of spirits long gone. They have this relationship with Bod. And again, I feel on a subconscious level, now looking back in 2020, I started to come to this graveyard, and I was drawn to be here. And I can feel the energy here. There's something about this place, and there's something about the spirits that feel very welcoming to me. And now thinking back, I'm living somewhat the story of the Graveyard Book, but in this story, Bod is raised by and educated by the truth of times gone. And so as he grows into a man, he's still of the physical world and faces the challenges of being one who's raised by the spirit world and reintegrating into the physical world. We have the theme of in the world but not of the world. He deals with the challenges of the phony structures and the falsehood and propaganda of the material world, where he has the true warmth of the spirit world that raised him, but yet he has to find his way in this world. And one of the greatest truths in this book is it reveals how the systems of this world are actually made up. You see, the killer of Bod's parents was a character named the Man Jack. And the Man Jack, again, was on a mission to kill the entire family. And he failed that mission because Bod got away. And so the Man Jack, you find, is still trying to find Bod and finish off his mission to kill the one who, it turns out, can bring the end of the structures of the material world, the matrix, essentially. And you find out that the Man Jack is part of a secret society. And all these characters in the society are called Jack. They're all named Jack. And they are people, or they're beings, essentially, that have infiltrated the highest levels of society. They're in every structure, in banking, in politics, in media, in all the power structures of the world. Behind the scenes, they're run by the shadowy organization of Jacks. So we have the Illuminati reference right here in Neil Gaiman's Graveyard book, the shadow organization that secretly runs the events and the perception of the world. And there was one, again, born into this world that could bring it all down, and they have to kill him. And so this theme, again, is played out in the end of the book, and you find as Bod grows into himself and faces his dragon in the hero's journey, which is facing this organization of Jacks who finally find out that he is in the graveyard and they come for him, they are thwarted. And again, we have this theme of the structures of the matrix being exposed and thwarted in this book, The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. And I could not think of a more relevant theme to the times that we are living in and the truths that are being told in this wonderful piece of art. So that being said, I'm going to enjoy this day. I'm going to sit in this very comforting environment and see what the day, what the spirits have to teach me. Be well, my friends, and I'll see you on the other side.